ይህ ፕሮግራም የኢትዮጵያ ልጆች ሚዲያ ከብሪጅ ፕሮፌሽናል ዴቨሎፕመንት ሴንተር ጋር በመተባበር ያዘጋጀ ነው። የብሪጅ ፕሮፌሽናል ዴቨሎፕመንት ሴንተር አድራሻ በመገናኛ አደባባይና በሴንቸሪ ሞል መካከል ፔከን ህንጻ፣ ስልክ 0113 21 03 97።
Hello children, I'm Miss Ruth and today I'm reading for you on behalf of Ethiopian Children's Television. I work for Bridge Professional Development Center, and I'm so happy to be telling you another story. You know, one thing that's great about reading is it takes you to different places you've never been before, and it's a great way to learn about them. So today's story takes place in France, in the city called Paris. You may recognize this on the front cover, which is the Eiffel Tower. So this is a story about a girl named Madeline. In an old house in Paris that was covered with vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. In 2 straight lines, they broke their bread and brushed their teeth and went to bed. They smiled at the good and frowned at the bad, and sometimes they were very sad. They left the house at 9:30 in 2 straight lines, in rain or shine. And the smallest one was Madeline. She was not afraid of mice. She loved winter, snow, and ice. To the tiger in the zoo, Madeline just said, "Pooh pooh." And nobody knew so well how to frighten Miss Clavel. So look at this picture. There she is, walking on a high wall, ready to fall into the water. So Miss Clavel, who took care of Madeline and her friends, was very worried. In the middle of one night, Miss Clavel turned on her light and said, "Something is not right." Little Madeline sat in bed and cried and cried. Her eyes were red. And soon, after Dr. Cohn came, he rushed out to the phone. And he dialed, "Danton 10-6. Nurse," he said, "it's an appendix." I should tell you what an appendix is. It's a very tiny little organ in your body. And sometimes it gets sick and you have to take it out. And that's what happened to Madeline. Everybody had to cry. Not a single eye was dry. Madeline was in his arm in a blanket, safe and warm. In a car with a red light, they drove out into the night. Madeline woke up 2 hours later in a room with flowers. Madeline soon ate and drank. On her bed, there was a crank. I should tell you what a crank is. You turn a crank to raise or lower something. In this case, it would help Madeline's bed go up and down. And a crack on the ceiling that had the habit of sometimes looking like a rabbit. Outside were birds, trees, and sky, and so 10 days passed quickly by. One nice morning, Miss Clavel said, "Isn't this a fine day to visit Madeline?" Visitors from 2 to 4 read a sign outside the door. Tiptoeing with solemn face, with some flowers and a vase. In they walked and then said, when they saw the toys and candy and the dollhouse from Papa. But the biggest surprise by far on her stomach was a scar. And a scar is the mark where they took out her appendix. Goodbye, they said. We'll come again. And the little girls left in the rain, brushed their teeth, and went to bed. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavel turned on the light and said, "Something is not right." And afraid of a disaster, Miss Clavel ran fast and faster. And she said, "Please, children, do tell me what is troubling you." All the little girls cried, "Boo-hoo! We want to have our appendix out too." "Good night, little girls. Thank the Lord you are well, and now go to sleep," said Miss Clavel. And she turned out the light and closed the door. And that's all there is. There isn't any more. Now, what did the little girls try to do? They tried to pretend they were sick as well. Why? Because they loved all the special gifts that Madeline got when she was in the hospital. She got flowers and candy and a dollhouse from Papa. So they thought if they pretended, maybe they would get that too. However, it's never good to pretend you're sick, because being sick is not any fun. Now, there's something you may have noticed about this book, and that's that the words at the end of every line rhyme. They have the same ending sound. So on the last page, there were well, Clavel, door, more. And if you hear this book again, listen for the rhymes. Thank you for listening to Madeline with me. And the next story we're going to read is about a little girl and her mother, and it's called Blueberries for Sal. Goodbye.
ይህ ፕሮግራም የኢትዮጵያ ልጆች ሚዲያ ከብሪጅ ፕሮፌሽናል ዴቨሎፕመንት ሴንተር ጋር በመተባበር ያዘጋጀ ነው። የብሪጅ ፕሮፌሽናል ዴቨሎፕመንት ሴንተር አድራሻ በመገናኛ አደባባይና በሴንቸሪ ሞል መካከል ፔከን ህንጻ፣ ስልክ 0113 21 03 97